Facebook organic marketing pitfalls. What's up, guys? It's Jamie, and today's video is all about some of the pitfalls that I see in Facebook organic marketing. Now, if you're new to this channel, I'd like to say a very warm welcome to you. My name is Jamie. I'm a full-time affiliate marketer. So I coach for a program called the Super Affiliate Accelerator. We've got over 660 students absolutely crushing it with their affiliate marketing. Reason being is that we cover the fundamentals, sales, marketing, offer creation, all that stuff that is never really going to change. So if you're interested in learning more about that, first and foremost, I'd recommend that you hit the subscribe button. Secondly, there's a link below this very video. It's going to lead you through to my free group. And if you'd like some information about what we're up to and how I might be able to help you out, feel free to jump into that group, and I'll reach out with a couple of details, see if you're a good fit. All that being said, what I wanted to cover today is really some of the things that I see quite prevalent. Now, I must confess that this comes off the back of a bit of a rant from my friend and mentor, Jacob Karras, in the Super Affiliate Accelerator today, where what we were discussing is the pathway of one of the students who's gone from nothing, like literally no audience, nothing, no funnels, anything like that, to now knocking over 10K, his first 10K month in was like 3 to 4 months, something like that. It's absolutely phenomenal results. And Jacob was commenting on the coachability of this gentleman. But not only that, it's also because what we teach is based off that fundamental stuff. Not everyone is going to have the same pathway. Some people might take a year to get to that level. Some people might take longer. It took me 7 years before I could crack my first 1K day online. But needless to say, once you get that way of operation, way things click into place, the gap from going, say, from one high ticket sale of $1,000 to 10 of them in a month to 20 or 30 of them in a month, whatever, it's actually not that big. It's a lot easier, a lot more streamlined. One of the big pitfalls that I see, and one of the issues that is out there, and this is, like I say, something that was discussed today, was a lot of people are throwing rocks at things that they just have no idea about. And so Facebook organic marketing involves you putting up content, involves you building an audience, involves you connecting with your audience and essentially doing cold outreach. And this isn't for everyone, I must confess. It's not always the most comfortable thing to be doing. And what tends to happen is these rocks get thrown at things like, oh, cold outreach doesn't work anymore, and I only ever get inbound leads now. And that can happen for sure, absolutely. I've got processes in place to get warm inbound leads, which I do, and I make a good level of sales with those. But for me, I don't want to rest on my laurels. I don't want to be waiting for something to happen or someone to reach out to me before I have that opportunity to make sales. So I'm proactive. I go out there and I DM people. Hey, what's up? Nice to connect. Not everything has to be a sales conversation. Not everything has to turn into some sort of sales dynamic. But that's what I'm aiming for. I'm aiming to find those people that I can serve within my audience, whether now or in the future. And that's the whole purpose of what we do. This is something that has worked for a long time. This is before SAA or anything came about. People have been prospecting for years, maybe centuries, I don't know, but they've been prospecting for years on different platforms, different methods and different ways, but the principle of it is exactly the same. So it's really ludicrous when I hear these things, people throwing rocks at the idea that it doesn't work. You don't have to do that. You can just rely on the attraction marketing for people just to come to you. And again, that is a nice dream. I made a sale very recently based off the fact that someone reached out to me, which was kind of cool. I've had a few of them, but it's not something that I'm really going to rely on for my sole source of income. I'm going to go out there and be proactive with it. So that's the big one. Number one is throwing rocks at the idea that cold messaging doesn't work. You just got to get in there and do the work and build that audience. And especially in the initial stages, you don't have that luxury of resting on your laurels. You don't have that luxury of waiting for people to come to you because you're so amazing. It doesn't work like that. You've got to be really proactive to get the ball rolling to start with. The second thing is a lot of people make the assumption very blindly and very wrong, in my opinion, that is, if you're putting out really good content, that is going to be the only thing that you're going to need in order to make sales. And the reality is that as you go through this pathway and as you become more proficient at copywriting and creating offers and all that type of stuff, and you're positioning within your own audience, things like that, yes, it is a lot easier. You do become more proficient at that. But to basically assume that all you need is just the content as your full marketing component of your business is absolute bollocks. Because where's the fucking audience going to come from? Where are you going to get the audience from? No one's going to see that if you're not out there actively getting in front of people and building your audience up. End of the day, it comes down to three components. This is something that I learned from Frank Kerner. It's just been ingrained into my head ever since, which is number one, build an audience. Number two, add value to that audience. And number three, make offers to that audience. And if you're able to do that, then you're going to do okay. That's the end goal. So, like I say, I find it really ludicrous that people are hiffing boulders at the idea that all you need is good content. The other part of it is, and this is something that I see that is quite prevalent, is people are throwing rocks at the idea that you don't need to add people. They say, oh, we only need to add a couple of targeted people and then you're fine. But I disagree with that very strongly, because what tends to happen is people end up going into buyer groups, which is fine. It's a technique, of course. But if that's your sole source of doing it, what happens when that product or program disappears, or that group or that community disappears? You've got nothing, right? You're actually at square one because you haven't put any equity into growing your audience. You're waiting and hoping that the buyers are the ones that you're going to be able to resell into something else. And a lot of the time, what tends to happen is you end up circumventing other program vendors' sales process. You end up circumventing that, and you're not actually doing a service to the person that you're speaking with, especially if they're committed to it, and especially if they're on the verge of getting results. You can look for ways that a program can complement that, but you don't necessarily have to heft rocks at what they're doing specifically. It can be basically in complement with what they're doing as well. So those are kind of the big things that I see are really prevalent. The other one that tends to irk me quite a lot actually is the whole passive income myth. It'll be great in some sort of weird fantasy where you do the work once and you get paid forever and ever. And yes, there are things out there where you do get passive income, things like blogging, for example. Sometimes YouTube channels, I've got videos that I created 3 years ago that are still bringing in income to this day, both through affiliate sales and AdSense revenue, things like that. So yeah, it can happen. They are out there. I'm not disputing that one little bit. But when it comes to Facebook organic, the whole idea is that you don't get stuck doing all this stuff forever. It's a way to cut your teeth, a way to build your brand equity and credibility in pretty rapid succession by being really proactive with getting out there. And then once you get to that point and you start adding layers into your business, start adding funnels, start adding some ads if you're interested, you start building out your email list, things like that. Because what happens is you learn how to sell on a one-to-one basis. In terms of the passive income thing, one of the problems is that people aren't really paying any attention to the economics. What I mean by that is, if, for example, you've got something where you're selling it and you're making $1,000 per sale, awesome. It means that your lifetime customer value is actually starting at $1,000. Means that if they buy nothing else ever, the starting point is $1,000. So hold that thought for a second, because what the argument is, yeah, but if I sell this thing over here, then it's going to pay me passive income forever. But the reality is, especially in the affiliate space, if you're targeting businesses, maybe it's a bit different, but if you're looking at like affiliate marketing, the attrition rate for these programs and memberships and softwares, all that type of stuff is really high. It means that most people are only going to stay on for 3 to 5 months, not even that, to be honest. And so therefore, if you look at the mathematics behind, say, something that pays you $1,000 per one single sale versus, say, something that pays you $50 recurring every month, then that person needs to stay with that program or whatever it is 20 months, in nearly 2 years in order to equate to one high ticket sale. And this is where the economics and the mathematics don't really stack up, because they're not really accounting for that attrition rate. Now, of course, there's outliers, and of course, there are people out there that are making passive income month after month, having sold things earlier on in the piece. But guess what? There was active income to start with. They had to work their butt off to get to that point first. There's the other thing people don't really pay attention to, is that yeah, you can have that, but you got to have active income first, right? Once you have that active income, then you start diversifying. That's the way that I view it. Anyway, look, this has been a little bit of a rant. Just thought I'd jump out here and say this is really off the back of one of the coaching calls that we had today in the Super Affiliate Accelerator. And like I say, Jacob very eloquently expressed some of these sentiments as well. Hopefully you guys got a bit of value out of that. In conclusion, if you're finding some of the pathway a little bit tricky and not entirely sure which lever to pull in your business to spit cash out the other side, just have a look at your numbers. Are you getting enough people into your pipeline? Are you building your audience enough? Are you adding value to them? Are you making offers to them? This is usually the big thing. People aren't actually offering anything. Like, they're not saying, hey, love for you to subscribe if you got value out of this, hit that button. Hey, by the way, if you'd like to join my free group, there's a link below. It's another offer. They're not doing that. And so therefore, there's often a disconnect. So those are the 3 big things. Focus on those and you will have some success online. Hope this helps, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.